Hey, this is Kathy Beatty coming to you on Friday night, just stepping into your life. Hopefully, I provide some tools, some techniques, and some hope and help for you as you go through the trauma of divorce. We're going to talk about the complexity of divorce tonight. And if you haven't started this process, you're probably not aware of the complexity of divorce. If you're in this process, you're probably overwhelmed by the complexity of divorce. Let me remove this here and let me share also September 10th is my next group forming. I do have a few folks enrolled. There's room for you. It is going to be hybrid, so they'll be in person if you're in the Grand Rapids area, and it will also be online if you're not. I've had people all over the country and actually outside of the country join us. And so you certainly are welcome if you are going through this difficult transition. So I don't know about you, but it's been a week. It's been a long week, and I'm tired. And I bet you, if you are in the middle of divorce, even the most common of weeks is tiring. In fact, exhausting because it takes so much more energy to function when you're going through the trauma of divorce. And so that's one of the reasons why I encourage you to be compassionate to yourself, to not expect yourself to climb the mountains, but only to manage the speed bumps. And there are many of speed bumps. So let's talk about the complexity of divorce. Did I mention I did September 10th, next group forming? I also mentioned I'm tired. So if I repeat myself, you'll probably know why. And I'm hoping that you all can hear me. Let's see our audio where it's at. Okay, you should be good in hearing me. Just want to make sure of that. So let's talk about what I'm going to talk about really is the four components that I use in my support group. And I call it the four stages of divorce. And it goes through uh, different areas that each of you are going to experience as you go through divorce. And it goes like this. First of all, we're going to talk about the emotions of divorce. Because as you know, the emotions are the first most difficult thing that you have to deal with, whether that's shock, whether that's grief, whether that's dealing with betrayal or anger or all of those emotions that we are facing as we go through divorce. So that's the first thing that we're going to talk about when we come together, and we will talk about all of the emotions. Um, so, how important it is that we gain an understanding of our emotions, an appreciation and respect of our emotions, of where we're at and how we're feeling, and not try to shove it and stuff it, but actually respect it and honor what you are going through, the trauma that you are going through, and understand these emotions are just part of it. Now, how do we manage these emotions? Because if we don't, they're going to get carried away and we're going to do stupid things. I've seen many stupid things in the 19 years of doing this work, and I did a few myself 28 years ago when I went through my own divorce. So I know how emotions can steer us wrong. In fact, a lot of them are not even trustworthy. So we talk about all of that. So very important. Number two, we talk about the decisions of divorce. Oh, talk about complexity. Our emotions are complicated, our decisions are complicated. You are making some life altering decisions going through this process. And that's why we talk in group of the importance of having a network of experts, people who can guide you in the financial and the legal and spiritual and emotional areas to help us. You cannot do this alone. You need someone who's going to help you through this process and make these major decisions. So we talk about all of that. Should I keep the house? If I keep the house, can I really afford the house? Huge decisions that we have to make. What do I do with retirement? Do I cash it all out to start over? No, you don't. If you don't have to, you don't, because that's a big mistake that people make. So we talk about all of these decisions as we go through this process. And there are some very, very important decisions. The next stage we talk about is acceptance. I have to accept where I am. I have to accept the fact that I am now single or going to be single. I have to accept the finances as they are, not try to maintain that lifestyle that maybe we were living when we were married, and just dealing with the reality. of the divorce, the complexity and the reality to accept, okay, here's where I am right now. I'm going to build from this, but I have to first accept where I am. It's so healthy to do that. In fact, we cannot move forward until we accept where we are. And the final stage, moving forward from divorce. We spend 10 weeks together. And what we're doing is we're looking where we are right now and we're looking at what happened in the past, trying to understand it all. But eventually we're going to get to the point to where we start looking forward and we're not looking back anymore. And that is my favorite place to be. Favorite place to be. In fact, I'm just starting next week a new group of redesigning your life after divorce. If you're interested, connect with me and I'll get you some information if you've gone through divorce. And the big question is, now what after divorce? How do I move forward? Well, that's a process. And many people move forward incorrectly and hastily, and they make a lot of decisions that hurt them. So how do we move forward from divorce? First, we've got to work on our healing. And we talk about that in the group and also the new group that I'm starting next week, which is redesigning your life after divorce. So it's so important that you don't go through this alone. It's so important. It's so important that you have some guidance through this process, that you are honest with yourself. The truth is always our friend, always, even the painful, even the hard truth, because then we know where we are and we know how to proceed forward. So these are the 4 stages of divorce that we talk about in group. Of course, I'd love to have you join us. It's really helpful. I get feedback after every group, and so many times people have said to me, this was so helpful. I don't know where I'd be without this, because we come together as a group and we start really ministering and supporting each other. It's such a beautiful process. That's why I've been doing it for 19 years. Not because of dealing with the pain and the rawness, but by seeing the transition that happens from the first week to the 10th week. And it's huge. People are getting a grasp of where they are. And they're also beginning to get a vision of where they can go. So important. Scriptures I want to share with you. This one, Psalm 147:3. He heals the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. You cannot fully heal without the spiritual aspect of this trauma. Only God can really heal the depth of the pain that you're experiencing. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Once we can get a grasp of faith and believing that we are going to make it, we are going to move forward, it is so empowering. And of course, we know this verse, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I'll fear no evil, for you, God, are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me, they direct me. And Jesus said these words, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Don't be afraid. Oh, being afraid is one of the huge, huge things. The unknown, the fear of the unknown. So how can you help yourself through the complexity of divorce? Don't go through it alone. Reach out for the help that you need, not only a therapist, but also group support. To hear other people articulate your pain is so helpful and healing. I hope you'll consider joining us. And quite frankly, I've had people who have been done from their divorce for about 5 years finished, and they still see that there are some issues that they are battling with. So would love to have you join us September 10th for the new group. Or if you finish your divorce and you want to begin having a plan to look forward, would love to have you join me next week. This is Kathy Beatty with Divorce Support Anonymous, walking with you every step of the way through and after the trauma of divorce. Thank you for joining us tonight.